was going to be 19 till September. I thought I was the happiest thing. I'd go up there, and I had a hell of a good time. I'd go up in the cockpit. He said, sit down there, and I'd sit behind there. Man, I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Now, I'm only 19 years old. Well, finally, after a few months went by, he says to me, he says, we got some openings in, I see that you have a little bit of training. I had some training in radio.
Okay. What kind of training?
Did Dodd, SOS, did Dodd, you know. He says, you want to go to, you want to go to South Dakota? We got a school up there for radio. And he says, we got a school down in Biloxi, Mississippi for airplane engine mechanic. I said, I said, I'll take the Biloxi, Mississippi because it was in New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's where it was.
Which would you rather pick, New Orleans or South Dakota?
I go to airplane engine mechanic school. I'm down there for 4 months of this. Training, starting the engine, changing the propellers, all that bullshit. But we had a lot of time off. We'd go to school, we'd be off every Saturday and Sunday. Hitchhiking to New Orleans. Hitchhiking to New Orleans. French quarters, we'd go in there. We had a hell of a good time. Well, time went on, time went on.
Any chicks in there?
Huh?
Any women in there?
Oh, I'm 19 years old. I'm looking. And who comes down? My best friend gets transferred here. Leonard Litz.
Leonard Litz.
My best friend, Leonard Litz. We had a hell of a good time. We got down, but we were always busted. I'd always be shooting crap. And one time, I had a flight jacket. I sold it for $5. So we hopped a train. There was a train that took me to New Orleans. We didn't hitchhike. I think it was cost us $50 to get down there. So we had $4, and we met these two girls down there, and we didn't. Make a long story short, we was busted. The girl says, "We'll pick up the tab, okay?" Every place we went, it was raw oysters. You know what raw oysters are like? Huh?
Yeah.
Them women were. They were loving them. Well, they were loving them raw oysters. Man. We tried one, we couldn't eat it, me and Leonard. We were starved. We told the two girls, listen, we got to go back to camp. We hitchhiked back to camp. We were busted. That's one instant. Another instant, there was a nice little place I used to have some girl. She's always come up. She was wearing me out. 19 years old, she was wearing me out, son.
I'll bet.
I had a good time here. Well, what comes up? I'm done with that. So I'm looking to go to gunnery school down in Laredo, right?
Well, this is about when? How long have you been in?
This is the latter part of
44?
44.
Okay.
Through another one.
Threw another interception.
To a lineman?
It fucking really stinks, man, I'll tell you.
Jeez.
So what happens? He says to me, you don't want to get down to gunnery school. You could go, we got a good opening for you to go to Clovis, New Mexico. It's a B-29 base. Well, that was some kind of airplane. It was pressurized, Elch. But you pressurized. The top of it was nothing but a big tunnel. Underneath was where the bombs all were. It was enormous. That big 4-prop engine, powerful, buddy. So, I didn't have nothing to do there. They sent me there. I said, what am I going to do? There was nothing for me to do.
Good ball. It looks like
That's where I won all the money, playing poker, with all those stop sergeants and everything. I bought that old car.
Oh, yeah, that's what you were just saying.
So,
we missed that story for the camera.
we went into Clovis, New Mexico, and they didn't, like I said, they didn't have no stores or nothing. And there was a kid I got acquainted with. He was from Wisconsin, right? So he says to me, we was in, this county we was in, it was dry. No alcohol beverages. Only thing you could get was this B2 beer at the PX.
What's a PX?
It was a post exchange for us. We could go in there and you could buy stuff.
Oh, like for the Army guys?
Right.
Right.
So he says to me, listen, we can get some beer. We're going to hitchhike to Portales, New Mexico. I says, I don't care. He said, come on. He said, boy, it's a nice place. All kind of women there. He said, women. I said, okay, I'll go with you. We get there. It's a dive. You ever see these old army, these old cowboy movies where these bars look like old dives and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
There was no women there. He gets a bottle of beer, drank it down. Oh, is that good? I just took a sip of it. Another one. He drank 4 or 5 bottles of beer, and I drank one. I'm 40 miles from Clovis, New Mexico. It's in August, and it's in hot. Ain't no women there. What the hell am I doing here? I says to him, I'm getting the hell out of here. I go out, I'm hitchhiking. Some pilot picks me up from our base.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, hey, did you hear what happened? I said, no. He says, looks like the war's going to be over. I said, what do you mean? He says, they dropped a bomb over there. It's supposed to eliminate a whole city. I says, you telling me the truth? He says, I know it's hard to believe, but that's what I heard. I heard it on the radio. He had a radio. He had a car.
Mm-hmm.
It was a car. Here they dropped an atomic bomb. I says, what do you think's good? Then we're going, I says, if they dropped the atomic, he says, the war's going to end. You watch and see. That's atomic bomb. He's telling me. I'm disappointed. Because I was only in by that time about 28, 29 months.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, no, I was only in about a year. Let's see. I didn't get out till May, so this is about 20-some months I was in. I was disappointed, naturally. So I was still there. What do you think happens? They shipped me up to Wright-Patterson Field. That was the Air Force headquarters.
In where? What state?
Ohio.
Okay.
Ohio. So I'm up there. Don't know what to do with us. The war ends, because this was in August. The war ended.
Mm-hmm.
So I says, this ain't no good. I didn't see nothing. I was hoping to go over. You're 19 years old. You want to go.
You want to shoot.
Right. I was really disappointed. But now I'm glad I'm not now. Because I'm alive and I have Elge. I have a grandson and granddaughter and everything. I'm glad when you come down to it, because nobody appreciates the GIs anyhow in World War II. So what happens is, I'm up there. What do you think happens? The guy comes up to me and he says, listen, I see you can do some typing. He says, we're going to open a mustering out center.
A what?
Discharge center.
Okay.
Discharge people. He says, you only got, that time I think 21 months in, he says, you only got 21 points. He says, you won't be getting out because we get the guys out overseas, you got so many points and so on. So he says, you want a good job? You can be the CQ, night CQ. So what's that? He said, well, when guys come in, you're supposed to take their name and assign them to a barracks. Give them a pillow and a blanket. He says, you'll work 3 days, you'll be off 3 days. You work 3 days, be off 3 days. Sometimes you might have to 4 days, you'll be off 4 days. Got it like that. So I took a night CQ. I had it made. I worked them days, sat there all night, guys come in, talk to them, bullshit, stuff like that. Wasn't so bad. So finally I went up to him and I says to him, I'm still young yet. I says, I want to go overseas. He looks. He says, you can't. You got 28 points. He says, you got too many points. You're going to get discharged. It went according to how many months you had in the service.
Mm-hmm.
I says, what are you talking about? He said, I'll tell you what, though. You want to go overseas? You can re-enlist. He says, you can re-enlist for 3 years, and I'll ship you wherever you want to go. You want to go to Japan? You want to go to Europe? You can have your pick. That's just 3 more years. 19, 20, 21. I'll be 22 years old. I says, no. I said, I'll stay here until my discharge comes. And I got out